What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Corvette Weekly. As you guys know, this is the show where you can come for pretty much anything Corvette related, Corvette news, Corvette ownership experiences, maintenance tips, etc. We do it all here on the show. So hopefully you guys are liking the show. I know a lot of the same names keep popping up in here, so I know you guys are digging it, at least the ones that keep showing up. So tonight is going to be a big night. We got a lot of information to cover. We also have a really awesome giveaway to finish up. And we're going to bring Joe on from Solar Performance in a little bit here after we cover a little bit of news so we can get some more of his expert opinions, expert advice, expert experience from the fact that he does work at Solar Performance. So he knows kind of we'll say everything about the Solar Performance products. So yeah, guys, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in as usual. I appreciate you all being here. Like I said, we have a really big giveaway tonight. I'm going to run through some names here really quick because we are going to start the giveaway thing off just like we did. We have all month at least, where if you're a member of the channel, you're going to get a free entry. So the memberships on this channel are typically $4.99, I believe, is the cheapest one you can get. If you decide you get that one, that will actually get you a free entry. So it makes a lot of sense to become a member to the channel if you haven't yet. And worst case scenario, it gives you a free entry into our giveaway tonight. And I'm going to actually post a link in the chat. If you have not become a member of the channel yet, there is a link. Click that link, become a member of the channel, and you will immediately get a free entry. Now, for those of you who are already members and you want your free entry, all you got to do in the chat is just type the number 1. Once I see that pop up, I'm going to get you added in as a free entry, but you do have to be here at the end of the night when the winner is drawn in order to win the product. So don't just pop in here, hit number 1, and then leave. If you're not here, you can't win if you're just getting a free membership entry. So with that said, let's see what we got here. We got Randall Swanson's in the house. What's up, Randall? Jeremy, 2020 Matrix 8. What's up, man? Happy Monday, Obsessed gang. I like it. Seawolf06. Jay Brazelton, I got you on there. So any of you guys who have donated outside of the live video, I got you all added on there. So a couple people have sent some money in already to get added on to this before the live show even began. I got you added on. So don't worry about that. What's up, Carlos? Thanks for coming back in. Put your Mountain Dews in the air and yell social. We got the Mountain Dew at least. Keith French in the house. What's up, man? Thank you for the great Corvette content. You're very welcome, Charles. Thank you. Let's see. All right, so let's start with the free entries here. We got Seawolf06. Bobby Morgan, you're not a member. Charles, you're not a member. Your names actually turn green once you sign up to be a member on the channel. So if you follow that link I posted, it will let you sign up as a member. At that point, you'll get added on to the free entry. Chris, AARPM, Chopper Larry, Steve Robertson. Let me make sure I got all these names in here. AARPM, I got to add you on there. You weren't here last time. Okay. All right. Getting some free entries going on, guys. I like it. Seawolf06. Thank you. We got you in for another 10 entries. And also I want to mention really quick, Wheeler O'Hara, I got you in the very beginning. Got you in for 10 entries as well. So thank you guys again. You're already killing it. We want to change the giveaway just a hair. It's not going to affect anybody who's already donated here, but ultimately this is not going to be just for the Z06. So if you guys want to enter to win a throttle body for your particular car, you can do that even if you don't have a Z06. If you end up winning, you can decide which throttle body you want. So if you don't have a Z06, you can still enter. But this giveaway tonight is good for the Z06 throttle bodies as well. So if you do have a Z06, you can choose the new 91mm throttle bodies. If you don't, you can get a 91mm throttle body for your Stingray or E-Ray as well. So don't let the Z06 talk scare you away. You can still enter regardless. Let's see what we got here. Seawolf 06 gets another 10 entries. All right. All right. All right. Joe is in the house. He's not on here just yet, so he will be soon, though. He can see the screen. He can hear you guys, but, or, you know, hear me talk about what you guys are saying. But Steve Robertson says, tonight is the Solar Performance Throttle bodies for the Z06, correct? It is for any car tonight, including the Z06. So if you win and you have a C8, you can get it. If you win and you have a Z06, you can get it for the Z06. It's for anything tonight. The gates are pretty wide open on the throttle bodies for the car tonight. Keith French, looks like you just became a member of the channel. I appreciate that. That will get you one additional free entry. So you are in there for one as of now. Now, guys, if you want to add to your free entries, obviously you are more than welcome to do that. So if you want to add on to your one free entry by donating $10, that'll get you another entry. And $50 or more is double entries. So if you donate $50, you would normally only get 5, but in this case, it'll be 10. For anything over $50 is double what you would normally get. As of right now, our highest donation is $100, and we have 3 people that have done that. So, yeah, if you guys want to take your good chances at winning, the more you donate, the bigger your chances are. Now, with all that said, last week when we ran a winner, it came back as Steve Risha. I don't think he's in here right now, but I've already contacted the actual winner because Steve did not donate. I forgot to remove his name from it, so I ran the wheel again, and Gordon Cruz won. So Gordon, if you're on here tonight, I've sent you a bunch of messages. I haven't heard back. He was the winner of the throttle controller last week. Gordon, if you're in here, let me know because I still need to get you your throttle controller. Nice. 10 Seconds Z06 bought a throttle controller, says it came in today. Yeah, dude, you're going to love it, man. It's insane how much different it is. Yeah, guys, so we got Shane in the house today. If you could, please, guys, smash the thumbs up button. Let us know you're liking the content so we can keep doing this kind of stuff for you. We're going to talk a lot about the Mustang GTD and the ZR1 tonight, as well as a bunch of other stuff that's just popped up throughout the day. So we got some news coming as well. But guys, for the meantime, smash the thumbs up button. It really helps, and I'd love to be able to hit 100 before 8 o'clock. So that's about 18 minutes from now. If we could hit 100, that'd be really, really cool. No, LT4 powered, they do make them for the C7 as well. So guys, just to clarify, the giveaway tonight is a ported throttle body for the C6, C7, or C8 Corvettes. Any one of those models, I believe, will work. So there's 3 different generations worth of cars here, guys. You can, if you have any one of those and you want to donate to win, you can get them for your car. Jeffrey says, hey, how's it going? Jeff here. I'll be sending Brand some videos with upgrades, intake, throttle bodies, cooks, and fast speed titanium exhaust. Awesome, man. Charles says, how can I become a member? Charles, you will want to go to the link that I'm about to paste in the chat. If you click on that link, it will take you right to the ability to become a member. You would just purchase whichever level of membership you would like. $4.99 is the cheapest one. That will get you a free entry. The link is in the chat, though. You just touch that link, it'll take you right to it. Yeah, LT4 powered. If I were you, I would definitely do it. I get this question a lot, by the way, guys. Should I do this on my C7 Corvette? I personally would do it on the C7 Corvette, especially if it's an automatic. So I put it on my C7 ZR1, my manual transmission car, and I had already driven that car for almost 2 years. And I realized I'm going to have to kind of relearn the clutch and everything because of how sensitive the throttle could be now. So I decided not to do it. But if it's an automatic, there is literally no drawback. Do it. The automatics on any level here is going to, you want to do it. Steven Risha, what's up, man? Yeah, so if you didn't hear, last week I accidentally called you as a winner on something because I forgot to delete your name out of the spinning wheel of fortune for a throttle controller. But the actual winner was a guy that comes on here. His name's Gordon Cruz. I'm hoping he pops in here tonight. Welcome to the channel, Nat. I'll get you on there for your free entry. Let me add that in here now. There we go. Okay. Professor Corvette, that's something I got your email. We were actually going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk too much about it tonight. I have attempted to use it in the past, and it's not ridiculously easy to use, but it's not super difficult either. It's just, you're going to have to give it some time to really work with it well. But we will talk about that in the future, so don't worry about that. Oh, wow. Okay. Sounds good. 75 thumbs ups currently, guys. Let's keep smashing those. We need 100 by 8 o'clock. We got 15 minutes to get 100 more thumbs up, so I think that will work. Houston, what's up, man? That's a good place to be right about now. It is really cold here in Pennsylvania, I'll tell you that much. Red C8 Z06 getting a solar controller for Christmas. Very nice. John Perkins, how you doing, man? 77 thumbs up currently. All right, guys, so let's talk about little news. My big thing tonight, one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is something that we talked about 2 weeks ago, I believe. Let me get this added on here. And this is it. So if you guys remember, about 2 weeks ago, we had a little bit of a conversation about the 2 quarts of transmission fluid that is added to the C8 Corvette. Somebody brought it up in the comment section that the 2 quarts comes from factory on the Z06, that when you buy a Z06, you automatically get those 2 extra quarts. That's not true. So I wanted to do some research before I just started talking about it, because I didn't know for sure if that was the fact or not, and I found it is. So the C8 Z06 2023s already included the transmission pan change that eliminated the need for the additional 2 quarts. So it does not come pre-installed with 2 additional quarts. It still has the same amount of transmission fluid in it that the Stingray does before the 2 extra quarts. It was just that there's a transmission change that made it so it didn't need that fluid anymore. So just so we're on the same page, I ended up actually coming over to the Corvette forum here where I found the information, and you can see it had popped up just like we had the question. Does anybody know the real answer, whether or not the Z06 comes with the 2 extra quarts or not? And it ended up being that it does not. Like I said, it is a transmission, literally a transmission change that made it so it does not need the extra 2 quarts the way that the Stingray does. So a couple people in here, you can actually see, a couple people say, oh, yeah, the Z06 comes with the track fill from factory. And then eventually we get down to the point where we start to really dig into it, and it's not the case. So right here, you can start to see flat out false. The Z06 trans has a totally different sump. It does not need the extra 2 quarts. The overfill for the Stingray was never intended. It's a band-aid for a starvation issue that was found at testing that they never fixed. So the early transmissions for the Stingray, there was an issue that the 2 extra quarts actually fixed. The Z06 did not have that problem because of a revised sump specifically for the Z06. So again, no extra fluid in the Z06s. It is just a transmission total change. I just wanted to clear that up because I know a couple weeks ago we were talking about that, and I like to bring that kind of information to light whenever we're having a discussion, because that's what we're all about here. We want to make sure that the knowledge is passed on. And yes, this is a change that has since been brought over to the Stingrays as well. So the 2024s and up, same thing. You do not need the extra quarts of transmission fluid anymore, but the 2023 Stingray you still did. The 2023 Z06 you did not. So that's ultimately, I just want to make sure that was out there. Charles, welcome to the membership of the Horsepower Obsessed channel. I will get you added in for your free entry here. So Charles S., you're going to get 1 free entry. Thank you for supporting the channel. It really helps out a lot. Let's see what we got here. Brand's Garage is in the house. How's it going, man? Let's get those thumbs ups, everybody. Yeah, I agree. Shane's in the house. He's not here all the time because he's a workaholic. But, guys, he's here now. So smash those thumbs ups buttons. Yeah. Professor Corvette says, seems like solar or something equivalent should be a factory option. Everybody loves it. It's one of those things where it's like, if you give this kind of mod to 10 random people and all 10 of them like it, that says something huge, because people nowadays, especially, they love to just nitpick things apart. And if they're getting these products and they're loving every second of it, you know it's a good product. 90 thumbs ups currently. All right, guys, let's hit that 100 mark by 8 o'clock. We got 160 people in here watching. Let's keep going with that. Now, let's move on to another little piece of information here. We are going to talk a little bit about the December 2024 order cycle allocations and general constraints. Now, before I start this, anybody want to give a random stab in the dark? Just randomly guess. What is on constraint for the C8 Z06? Let's see. First person to guess it in here gets a free entry on the giveaway. What is on constraint for the C8 Z06? Without looking it up on the internet, just take a random guess. Professor Corvette says the DCT reminds me of myself. I need 2 extra liters of Mountain Dew when I got work to do. Well, there you go. There it is. New Horizon. I'll give it to you, Carlos, even though you already have everything we're looking at. The Z07 package. Of course it's the Z07 package. I'm going to put you on here, Carlos. You're going to get a free entry. All right. So, yeah. So the December constraints. Big surprise that it is right there. The high wing. So the 2025 Z06, both the carbon flash and exposed carbon fiber, still on constraint. 2 years later, we still cannot get carbon fiber on this car. That is absolutely insane. Insane. You know what? Gregory White says the motor. That would make so much more sense. It would make so much more sense if it was something big like that. But no, it's carbon fiber. So because we can't get the wing, you literally can't get the Z07 package either. It's insane. Absolutely insane that it's been 3 years now. Now, again, looking at the E-Ray even, carbon flash and carbon fiber, the ground effects are on constraint. So obviously, GM is still having an issue with getting carbon fiber on this car, which is insane. Again, we're 5-6 years into the C8 run at this point, and we still can't get carbon fiber. I don't know. I do not know. Yeah, Professor Corvette says, turns out the high wings are built out of moon rock. They're very hard to get. If I didn't know any better, I would say that they are built out of unobtainium, because nobody seems to be able to get it. Looks like we got 104 thumbs ups currently, guys. Let's keep rocking with that. We got almost 200 people watching. Let's hit that 200 mark tonight, guys. I can feel it. I think we're going to do it. Jeffrey says, did you want to sell your old Segala wing? I actually gave that Segala wing to someone else. It's already gone. I just recently sold the front splitter, dive planes, side skirts, and mirror caps as well. So everything is gone as of now. Yeah, it's so, Carlos says, it's so crazy that 2 years later, they still have that Z07 on constraint. Luckily, the aftermarket companies have started to having options out there, me included in that. Yeah, that's the thing. My car it looks identical to a Z07. I have even the strakes on the bottom now because I wanted a Z07 car. You can't get it from factory. Nat says, I was researching the solar throttle body and saw stuff saying you need the controller as well. Is there any truth to that? You can do one or the other or both. In my personal experience, both seems to work really well. So I would always recommend doing both, but at the same time, you could really do one or the other. You're going to notice a difference either way you run. Jeffrey says, I know about Racing Sport Concepts. Yeah. Racing Sport Concepts is without a doubt the highest quality carbon fiber I've ever seen aftermarket. Their quality, I just had the front splitter I put on my car from Racing Sport Concepts. I had that expelled the other day, and the expel tech that was installing it, I asked him, I said, what do you think of the quality of that? And he's like, it looks OEM. He's like, it is the finish, everything, the fit, it is OEM straight through. He's like, but I noticed it doesn't have that weird tint of brown to it. And I just started laughing. I was like, man, even like everybody notices that brown tint, except like some of the people who have the Z06 seem to don't mind it, but it would drive me nuts. Nat, it is the 91 millimeter throttle bodies for the Z06. If there's a 95 millimeter for the car that you would like, as long as it's a C6, C7, or C8, you can choose any throttle body in there as a giveaway. So if you want a 95, if that's an option, you can do that as well. It's for any cars at this point, guys. It's not just the Z06. If you have a C6, C7, or C8, and the throttle body exists on their website for your car, you can win it. Noisy says, thank you for recommending Pro Clips phone holders. Because of you, I got one. You're very welcome. Pro Clip is an awesome company to deal with. They have all kinds of great products. SSG Viper, I don't want to miss you here. He says, I would like to know if the AWE switch path for the C8 Z06 sounds better than stock. No high flow cats. Ours was delivered to the shop today. I own Corvette Community LLC and the Facebook page. Nice. Launching sweepstakes first quarter 2025. Awesome, man. Yeah, the AWE exhaust definitely sounds better than stock. Actually, Shane is in here, hanging with Shane. He has the stock AWE exhaust on his car without the cats. He can speak a little bit to that for SSG Viper. And on that note, I'll also get you added in for 2 entries here. Thank you for the donation. Shane, if you're still in the house, let me know. I would like to have you answer SSG Viper here if you could. Let's see. No. So Red C8 Z06, I did not install them yet, but I do actually have them here. So just so we're all on the same page, this is a gigantic box, by the way, but oh, there it is. Side intake grill guard. The only reason I haven't installed them yet is because I guess Scrape Armor is still working on some install video, and GM was very adamant about the fact that they don't let, basically that we follow the instructions to a T. But yeah, this is them. I mean, look at these things. This is the this would be the passenger grille. Look at how 3D molded this is, so it fits in there absolutely perfectly. I mean, that to me, I think that is incredible. It takes that many bends to fit in there perfectly. And when I say perfectly, I talked to Scott. He said there's less than a 2 millimeter gap around this entire thing. So basically, nothing's getting through unless it gets through these holes. Now, this is a really, really big deal, really important, because I just recently had my intake out of the car, and the intake was full of leaves. Like, anything that passes through those side intakes can absolutely get into your intake. So those things are important for that fact. But one thing Scott did want me to mention on the video here is what they call the potato chip clip, which is the plastic piece that sits right inside of the intake on the bottom. So this thing right here. This is the OEM one. I popped it out of my car just so I could show you, because Scott and the team over at Scrape Armor made it a big deal to match the texture and the color to this perfectly so that it would look right at home. They contacted GM. They used the same plastic, the same texture, everything. This is Scrape Armor's. So Scrape Armor's is a slight different shape because it has to incorporate that grill, but you could see the exact same texture, exact same color. So Scrape Armor's that kind of company where if they're going to make something for your car, they want to make sure that it looks 100% at home, not added on, which is really cool. Anyway, I will have an install video likely either Tuesday or Wednesday on my channel now for this. So stay tuned for that, guys. I'm pretty pumped for these, though. Nat, we got another $20, so another 2 entries for Nat. I'll get you added in there. There we go. All right, so what do we got here? Yeah, the hexagon shape is only because of the rear hatch on the coupe. The rear hatch back there, the heat, where the heat can escape, that's already hexagon. So they wanted to keep the same design language, basically. Guys, we got over 200 people watching here. If you could please smash the thumbs up button. Let me know you're liking the content. Donate if you guys want to win these Scrape Armor radiator grill guards. We did get some donations to Venmo. Every $10 is an entry. I'm sorry, not to Scrape Armor grill guards. Dang, my mind's all over the place. The Solar Performance throttle bodies, ported throttle bodies for a C6, C7, or C8, including the Z06. Every $10 is an entry. $50 or more is double entries. So we got John Perkins says, maybe this time. John Perkins, we got you in for 10 entries. John Perkins, 10 entries. Who else did we get in Venmo here? Brandon Jensen. Brandon Jensen, who, what is your screen name, just so I know? If you are Brandon Jensen, please raise your hand in the comment section. Miriam, got you in here for 3 entries. And Steve Risha, I got you for sure this time. We'll get you in for 10. Yeah, Brandon, hit those likes, guys. I got you in there, Professor Corvette. Don't worry about that. 111 thumbs ups currently, guys. We got over 200 people watching. Let's keep going with that. Hot Rod Todd, I got you in there, I believe. Let me just check. Yep, I got you in there. And again, Brandon Jensen, I need to know your screen name here. Yeah, side grills will be good for stopping leaves getting into the intake, 100%. Steve Robertson, I'm working down to it. I did. I got your Venmo for $100. So Steve Robertson, I'm pretty sure you're already in here. Yeah, you are with a free entry. So let's get you added up to that level. Steve Robertson, you are now in here for 21 entries. Okay, Brandon Jensen is Arnie's place. Okay, got you, man. Thank you for the. And yeah, Derek, I got you in here too for an entry. Sorry, guys, I'm just catching up on these entries now. Steve Robertson, yep, okay. Kevin Horan donated. He wasn't actually able to be on the show tonight, but he emailed me earlier about it. So we are good there, guys. Again, like I said, these Throttle Boys are not limited to the Z06 tonight. They are any car you want, but they do include the Z06. So I'm going to get through a little bit more information here, and then we're going to bring Joe on in just 1 second. So we talked about the constraints. I don't want to talk about that yet. So let's talk a little bit about the GTD, guys. You guys have no doubt heard about the GTD and the fact that it did okay. It did pretty well on the Nürburgring. Now, if you guys remember last week, I actually talked about what I thought the number on the Nürburgring would be, and it was pretty much spot on. That's what it ended up being. It was 6 minutes and 57 seconds. Now, if you guys remember last week, I compared it a lot to the C7 ZR1 because of the weight distribution being 50-50, the aero being super aggressive. That apparently was a really good comparison because we never got an official time for the ZR1, but a segmented time coming from Jim Merrow. And I'm not even going to tell you what it is. I'm just going to show you because every time I talk about this, people tell me I'm wrong. But over at the Corvette blogger, we actually have the segmented times here. And right there it is. 6 minutes and 57 seconds for the C7 ZR1. That's a segmented time, but Jim Merrow said that not only is that a time he knows he could hit, but he could have probably done better if he was able to drive that car on warm tires. The particular day that they were at the track, he was forced to drive that lap on cold tires, and it was also kind of a rainy day. So literally the exact same time as the Mustang GTD. Now, what's really impressive about this, the C7 ZR1 does it with 755 horsepower, and it weighs, I already pulled up all this stuff, guys, 3,560 pounds. So 3,560 pounds, 655 horsepower, can do the ring in 6 minutes and 57 seconds. We speculated about the weight of the Mustang GTD the other night on the live. A lot of places online say 3,800 pounds. Some people are coming in saying now that it's going to possibly be a little bit less than that. I'm going to tell you now, if it drops from 3,800 pounds at all, it is not going to drop much because there is a reason why this car needs 815 horsepower to do the same time that the ZR1 does with 755. And the difference is going to be weight, 100%. So the weight of the car is going to affect it enough that it is going to be higher weight than the ZR1. The ZR1 weighs almost 3,600 pounds. I venture to say this car is at least, or at most 38, at least 37. I really don't see this car weighing less than 3,700 pounds. The official weight for this car has yet to be apparently posted online, but this is a pretty good indication of what this car is going to be able to do with what kind of weight. Now, the big thing for me is 6 minutes and 57 seconds is a great time at the ring, but Ford did it 5 years after Chevy did. Even though Chevy's isn't an official time, Jim Merrow is very confident that it pretty much is. They did it 5 years after Chevy for double the price of what Chevy's costs and a fraction of the production, we'll say. So the GTD is not going to be a mass-produced car, and it's going to be 300 grand plus, because if you don't have an allocation for one, you're going to pay for it. So it's going to be even more than 300 grand. And it does what the ZR1 did 5 years ago. Like, it's still impressive. Don't get me wrong. The GTD is still an impressive car, and I love the fact that these manufacturers are doing what they're doing with this stuff. Because when Ford does that, now it's going to light a fire under Chevy and say, you know what? We better get that ZR1 over there and get us some C8 ZR1 times on that ring, because we know it can do better than the GTD. Let's do it. Hopefully that works. And I like the fact that competition breeds innovation. But yeah, so there it is, guys. The last week we called it. I said 657 to 658. A lot of people were saying, oh, it's going to be 640. I knew there was no way that car was going to do a 640 on that ring. That is way too low for a car that size. The car is big. It's that simple. And if it's going to be 3,800 pounds, it needs every bit of that 815 horsepower to do it. So, yeah. And this is kind of where I'm at. Wes says, imagine paying $300,000 for a Mustang. I'm kind of there with you, Wes. I don't believe, I mean, honestly, I'm hard-pressed to believe that a Corvette would be worth that much money. And a Corvette, in my opinion, is a better car than the Mustang. But at the same time, 300 grand is a lot of money for any car. So if I'm paying 300 grand, I better be getting exclusive, very, very, very exclusive car, a ridiculously good performance car, and something that is immediately recognized as being like top dog status stuff. And I don't think that's a Mustang. I'm not even sure that's necessarily a Corvette. I would say a lot of these Corvettes being built nowadays, they are supercars. In my opinion, it is a super. The C8 Z06, it's a supercar. This C7 ZR1, it's a supercar. It's a sub 7 minute car. That's a supercar. Dean, I'll get you added in for 2 entries. He says, love your program. 91 millimeter throttle body. See once entered in on Dean. I got you on there, Dean. Thank you for the donation. Thank you guys all tonight for being such good sports. Keep smashing that thumbs up if you can, guys. We're getting close to that point. I'm going to be bringing Joe on here in a second. But till we do, you can still smash that thumbs up. Smash away. So I'm just getting these added on here. These entries. All right. 2. Let's see what else. What other news we got? Oh yeah. So before we bring Joe on, this is a great segue to bringing Joe on, actually. So let's see. Jay Brazelton says, I could not sleep if I spent $300,000 on a Mustang. Yeah, so one last thing we're going to talk about real quick, then we're going to bring on Joe. And this is a great segment, like I said, because GM has officially commented on aftermarket parts and what they'll do to your warranty. This is really interesting because I've talked about this. I have at least 2 different videos on my channel talking about the effect of aftermarket parts on your warranty on your car. And GM has officially commented on it in the form of an aftermarket exhaust. So here it is. Over at the Mid-Engine Corvette forum, GM comments on a C8 aftermarket exhaust. And if we scroll down here, basically, official GM communications on aftermarket exhausts. This document was issued to GM Corvette techs, part of their Tech Link series. Basically, it says owners of a 2020 to 2025 Corvettes may install an aftermarket exhaust on their vehicle in an effort to change the performance characteristics or look of the system. However, a number of exhaust-related DCTs or DTCs may set due to an aftermarket exhaust system. So that's basically a check engine light, but most of these aftermarket companies have that settled, resulting in drivability concerns and calls to the technical assistance center with questions about proper operation of the system. When diagnosing the exhaust system on a C8 Corvette, begin by checking if the system has been modified with any aftermarket equipment. So they give you some pictures of what the OEM stuff looks like, which Borla has an OEM system now too. But ultimately, the part that really matters is right here. It says, GM does not support any other aftermarket exhaust systems for the Corvette, other than the GM accessory Borla system. All other kits are considered aftermarket systems, and GM will not cover any diagnosis, repairs, or parts/labor costs associated with the exhaust system. To address any conditions that may be related to the exhaust system, the customer has the option to have the dealership return the exhaust system back to the original stock system, return the vehicle to the company that installed the aftermarket system, or have the GM accessory Borla system installed on the vehicle. These are customer paid options. Now, the part of this that really resonates here is right here. All other kits are considered aftermarket systems, and GM will not cover the diagnosis, repairs, or parts or labor costs associated with that exhaust system. Now, this is very important here because what this is saying ultimately is if the exhaust system caused the issue, or you're having a problem with your exhaust and you changed it, it's not covered. This, however, is not saying anything about your warranty being void across the board because you changed your exhaust. So this factors in heavily with what we're going to be talking about with Joe here in a second from Solar Performance, because I get this question all the time. Will a ported throttle body void my warranty? It will void your warranty on the throttle body. That's it. So if for some reason the throttle body from Solar stops responding and electrically shorts out, GM will not cover that throttle body. You'll have to get a new one from Solar. But outside of that, if you install that throttle body from Solar Performance and your air conditioning stops working, it is not voided. Your air conditioning will still be covered under warranty as if you've done nothing to the car because you didn't do anything that would directly affect the air conditioning by changing out a throttle body. Now, this is official verbiage from GM saying basically the same thing. The exhaust change will make it so your exhaust is not under warranty anymore. However, that will not affect any other aspects of your warranty, assuming they can't make a direct correlation to it. So, hopefully that helps a little bit. I do want to make sure that you guys fully understand. Looks like we are having an internet connection issue. There we go. We're back. Oh, that is something else I wanted to talk about, actually. Professor Corvette brings up a really good point. That is one last thing I wanted to mention before we bring on Joe. And that is, yeah, direct from a video of Ford's. The warranty shall be voided if the Ford vehicle is used or driven in a competitive event with simultaneous multi-vehicle participation. Example, racing, including on a racetrack or other closed course. How do you make a car that is built for racing and then void the warranty when it races? Now, there's a lot of speculation on what this means exactly, but Ford has not cleared it up. They're not necessarily saying that if you put this thing on a track, your warranty is voided. They're saying it could possibly be only for large competitive racing events, but they haven't come out and clarified exactly what this means. So this verbiage is scary to me. I think this could potentially be a problem. So if you guys have spent $300,000 on a car and you want to track it, you might not be able to do that. So keep this in mind. This is definitely scary stuff here. So warranty wise, the C8 Corvette, everything's good as long as you're not trying to warranty an aftermarket part or that aftermarket part hasn't directly compromised another part of the car. So yeah, with that said, the Mustang GTD apparently is not the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and bring Joe in here now, guys. Sorry for the mess up here. I don't know what's going on with the audio, but it sounds like it's okay now. I'm going to bring Joe on after we talked a little bit about this warranty thing. If you guys didn't hear me, I was talking about the warranty on the GTD and about it being kind of odd that you're spending $300 grand on a car that the warranty could possibly be affected if you actually put it on a track. So you're buying a track car, putting it on the track, and they may void your warranty on a $300,000 car. So it's unclear right now as to exactly what they mean by this verbiage and whether or not they mean specifically like high-end competitive events where you're literally driving with other cars, or if it is literally anytime you put this car on the track, you could potentially void the warranty, which is really ridiculous. Because, again, the car that it is basically matching performance with is a 2019 ZR1 that cost half the amount, and Chevy would warranty it if you put it on a track. So half the price, 5 years older, did all this stuff already, and it was still covered under warranty. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and bring Joe on now because I think we're going to talk a little bit about some solar performance stuff, and I like the transition on warranty talk. So I'm going to bring him on. I'm going to bring him on right now, actually. So here we go. Let me get him unmuted. There we go. What's up, Joe?
How are you, Justin? How are you?
I'm good. Sorry about that little snafu. I don't know what happened. My internet like slowed down, and then all of a sudden people weren't able to hear me. So, guys, we do have Joe here from Solar Performance. We're still working on the giveaway for tonight. I still will be giving it away at the end of this live video. It will be any throttle body you want, but it does include the Z06 dual 91mm throttle bodies. So let me just see if we got any additional entries here. Looks like Bill Miller donated $100, so I'll get him entered in here. But yeah, Joe, I'm going to play a video that you sent me here in 1 second. And guys, I wanted to kind of set you up on this particular video that Joe sent me because it is a really cool example of the excitement that people had at Carlisle, especially around the solar performance products. So I'm going to play that for you right now. It's on YouTube. Here we go.
C8 Z51
2018 C7 Corvette.
from red C7 Corvette 2019 Grand Sport C6 Z06.
Very responsive.
I noticed instant difference. The throttle is instantaneous.
Responsiveness is immediate.
Literally feels like more power right off the line, like anytime you want it. It's crazy.
It got rid of any lag issues.
It doesn't have any stumble like the original factory.
I'd have to say is literally the best bang for the buck mod somebody can add.
But it's the best one on the market.
And I had a K-Tech 86 throttle body on there, and I thought it did well until I got this one installed. Best money I think I've ever spent on
Quality.
So let me ask you this. If I said to somebody that this will make a night and day difference in your vehicle, would that be
Absolutely. That was absolutely. I'm serious.
It makes it into the muscle car that you always wanted.
Right.
It's amazing.
Had nothing but great results. Unbelievable. I've been telling everybody about it.
downshifts feel faster as well. It was clean right through the lines, and just a lot more fun to drive.
All right, so there you have it, guys. The thing that kind of sticks with me is actually at the end, the under promise and over deliver. I like that. I like that approach. Most companies aren't like that nowadays. So, what are your thoughts on that, Joe?
So first off, thanks again for having me on, and thank you to everyone joining tonight who is already
purchased either both the controller and or the throttle body. I think Justin hit the nail on the head. They are certainly compatible and designed to work beautifully together. That said, you don't necessarily have to buy both. If you're looking for an improvement in your throttle body, you can buy that as a standalone purchase. If you're looking for a lot more throttle response and the controllability of 10 modes and 64 different settings, that's your throttle controller. If you want both and you want to take advantage of the full fact that you have put a new throttle body in, then obviously to take further advantage of that, the throttle body the throttle controller will allow that additional air in, more horsepower to be recognized. As far as the video goes, just a little context there. So we were flat out, at our booth, didn't eat most days till 4:00 with just people coming up constantly. And the next day, as I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, not to be redundant for those of you that were on, we had people coming back. In fact, every one of those people came back unsolicited and were telling great stories. And I said, well, hold on, before you sort of, tell that story to me only, would you mind just jumping here to the back of the booth, i.e. the pickup truck with somebody's pickup truck parked right, adjacent to our booth. And I said, let's do a quick video. And they said, what are you going to ask me? And I said, I don't know. Let's just roll with it. And you heard me just asking, top of the mind questions. And those were their actual in the moment, unrehearsed answers. Each person talked for about a minute. We made the compilation to boil it down to about a minute and a half. But I can tell you things all day long. I work at the company now, and, you may think, okay, well, Joe's going to tell us, what we want to hear or what, he's trying to quote unquote sell. One thing I do want to mention also is I was in all of your shoes 2 years ago, meaning I did not work at Solar. I bought a brand new 2023 C8 Corvette Z51, took it home, and having had a C7 and C6, I was disappointed thinking that they had addressed the issue of, that lag acceleration when a light changes, and furthermore, having more spirited driving, and thinking that they went to mid-engine, somehow that would also correct all of those issues from an engine perspective. And when I found out it didn't, I was honestly disappointed. I saw a Solar product. I saw it advertised. I saw it all over the Corvette forums with nothing but really positive praise. And I figured, you know what? For less than $250 with a 30-day full money back, no questions asked guarantee, why would I not do this? So I bought it. I put it in. I literally called them to thank them for the product that now made me feel like I got a new C8 in terms of acceleration and drivability, and frankly, just having a hell of a lot more fun than I had in it in OEM mode. And one thing led to another. And I said, if you guys are ever looking for somebody part-time to come in and help with, marketing, sales, or distribution, let me know. And the rest is sort of history, as they say. So that's the actual story.
Nice. We did get a question here. Well, actually, before we get to that, let me ask you, since you were able to hear me the whole time.
Yeah.
What did you think about the warranty thing that I read you from GM?
Yeah, no, I think it's spot on. And even though I guess that sounds like it's the first ever, official word, I think we've all been operating in the aftermarket community for as long as I go back to putting aftermarket parts on any of my 40 plus cars that I've owned over my life, with the full knowledge that, Magnuson, changed, the fact that manufacturers could not prevent people from using aftermarket parts to void an entire warranty, and they would be relegated to be the ones with the burden of proof, not the consumer,
right,
to demonstrate that that particular part caused, the very thing that you're bringing it in for. And so that's why we have adopted, as most aftermarket manufacturers had adopted, that the burden is on the manufacturer to say, as you said very eloquently, if you're having a problem with your exhaust system, it doesn't predicate that your air conditioning or your glove compartment box or your door or your locks aren't working or the convertible top now is not going up and down. Now, of course, if you splice into your system, putting in an aftermarket part, then obviously that's a bit of a different story, because now you've actually messed with the physical wiring,
Right.
in the car.
So, question I had here. Well, first, Lewis says that he passed HPO5 discount code on to a friend today. I appreciate that, Lewis.
Awesome.
I'm sure Joe does too. Wheeler says, Joe, if I don't win tonight, I guarantee I'll buy next fall after I swallow the pill off my $206,000 Canadian purchase. Wheeler, you can still use the HPO5 code at that point, but Bill,
Yeah.
who has also donated for this, says, so Joe, if we get your 91s, can we send you back our OEM throttle bodies for a rebate, and how do we do that?
So on the new 91s, for most of our other products, we do have a variety of ways to purchase them, in terms of outright, or sending yours in, us, redesigning them, if you will, and sending them back with a core fee. On these are actually our proprietary 91 millimeters. So these are purchase only, unlike a lot of the others that are on the site. So in this case, if you do want the 91s, those are manufactured, designed from the ground up by us. They carry the same manufacturer's warranty as an OEM would. And the reason, to answer why we're doing that, is there were a lot of limitations that we would have been held to, in terms of things that we really wanted to do to make more power. And so, these are not just ported and polished. If you look at them online, you'll see some really significant differences from not only OEM, but from a lot of other folks that you can potentially order or buy throttle bodies from. I won't go into all of them, but just to name a few, on the back of them, there's a knurling that looks very much like a golf ball. And, that is done for the same reason why golf balls aren't a solid piece of circle plastic. It has to do with aerodynamics. You'll also notice 3 very significant notchings that are in the throttle body. One is at 12 o'clock, which is off idle and eliminates that lag that most or all Corvettes, frankly, in my opinion, I've ever owned, have. So that eliminates that. And then the 2 at 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock position are bored out in such a way and engineered that in your normal driving from, let's say, 1,500 RPMs up to about 4,000 RPMs, if we're talking about the Z06 in particular, you will just have a lot more flow. You'll have a lot more smoothness. And you'll have a lot more enjoyable driving, where the car just wants to pull, and you'll feel just that entire flat range go away, as Justin, I think, highlighted very, very well in his review.
Red C8 Z06 asks if you're making 95 millimeter, if you have any intentions on making 95 millimeter for the C8 Z06.
Not at the moment, but nothing's ever off the drawing board. But on that note, because you have mentioned several times that this is available to folks, C6, C7, C8 tonight, we do make 91 millimeters, 95, 100, and 103. And then, of course, for the Z06, C8, that is, we do have the 87 millimeters, and we do have, obviously, the newly launched 91. Think of that as iPhone 15, iPhone 16. There's really nothing wrong with the iPhone 15. The iPhone 16 has a few more bells and whistles. In our case, the distinguishing factor would be allowing in approximately 10% more air flow than do the 87s. But the 87s in their own right, you will notice a significant difference. For $100, personally, I would go for the 91s.
Yeah, I agree. Paragon is advertising 95 millimeter for the C8. I think he means the Stingray. I'm pretty sure I saw you guys do have a 95 for the Stingray.
Correct.
So yeah, guys, you can get a 95 for the Stingray, but 91 millimeters is the highest it goes for the C8 Z06 as of right now. So yeah. Sean, you actually don't need the last name. If you're using Venmo, just make sure you're sending it to Horsepower Obsessed. Put Justin. That'll be more than enough to get you to the right person.
One thing I do want to note, Justin, because we get this question a lot, and I saw it on some of the inquiries over the last week or so. If it was this easy, why wouldn't GM just do this?
I've I've
Yeah.
commented about that in both of my videos, but go ahead. Yeah.
And you know, I think you handled it well. I would just add to what you already said with respect to MPG. There's also CAFE across the entire fleet of GM products. There's sound regulations. These will change the sound. I won't call it night and day from a sound perspective, but there is a decibel pickup. There's also the fact that the C8 now is a global vehicle, and GM has to adhere to the lowest common denominator of whichever country this car is for sale in. They don't want to make, 15 different country vehicle models of the car with respect to things like throttle bodies, air filters, exhausts. So if you want to know why the exhaust is set to the decibel level it is, the answer is look at what country has the lowest common denominator of sound requirement, and that's going to be your answer. So similarly, we have put, the OEM throttle body stock on a flow bench, and we can tell you factually that the one you would buy from us has 20% more airflow at every single point above idle all the way to wide open throttle. And that's just a fact. The other thing I would share is that, Corvette, if you will, does not make their own throttle bodies, right? Delco supplies them with a throttle body. Delco also supplies, like we talked about 2 weeks ago, the same throttle body that is on the C7 2017 C7, as an example, is the exact same casting design used on the 2024 C8 Stingray, and throw in the 2014 Silverado and Suburban 6-liter and 6.2 liter. So if you go to our store and you go to the GM drop down and you look at any throttle body, it will show you the compatibility of that throttle body with all the other GM products. And so you quickly can assess that, again, there's a economy at scale going on if you're running the GM division and you don't want an independent throttle body for every single make, model, and year of your car. You can just check the box and say, what we need for the Corvette is XYZ. And by that, I mean, we need an 87, or we need a 91, or we need a 93. Yep. GM then has the talent and the engineering to basically take that throttle body. And if they want to build a 500 horsepower engine, there's ways to do that around, obviously, the throttle body, right? What we're doing is basically taking a single part and saying, there's been, stuff left on the table that we are going to get you. And, our engineer made a good point to me on the call that I want to share with everybody. Could you imagine if everything from your, air intake all the way through your exhaust, if every one of the people are trying to do what we're doing and can honestly tell you they've made a 20% improvement, what that would mean from intake all the way through exhaust? It would be pretty incredible gains if each one of those had that advantage.
Yep, I agree. Silver Reaper says, finally hit over 100 subs on my channel. I have many of you to thank for that in the Corvette community. Also, I've been rocking a Solar since I bought the Vet. Amazing product. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Silver Reaper.
Thank you, Silver, for being a good customer.
We're glad to have you back on here. It has been a minute, but Bill Miller says, hey, Joe, what is the shipping time on sending out the 91s after ordering? Are they currently / really in stock? Yes,
they are. I haven't checked on quantities today, but I will tell you that we're not going to delay taking orders. And on a worst case, if we do get behind, we will still not do a sold out. We'll let you order them, but we will update the site as to expected times. And we're talking there about, possibly something that would resemble 2 weeks. We're not talking about 3 months or 6 months lag time. We've got the ability to really, develop and build these out pretty quickly in-house in Alabama at our warehouse.
All right. So Virgil Starr says, would there be noticeable gains on an E-Ray given the front wheel drive element?
Yeah. So good question. We're not going to disrupt the electric, motors in any way, shape, or form. So that will be unchanged. What you will notice is exactly the same change you would notice in a C8, in as much as, you're asking for controller or well, both would be the same answer. Yeah. It's going to do the same thing to an E-Ray on the horsepower and acceleration as it would do on a C8, and it won't touch the electric at all.
Yeah, guys, we got over 200 people watching. Let's hit those thumbs ups. We got Joe on here from Solar Performance to talk a little bit about the more detailed stuff of the solar products. Obviously, we are giving away a set of ported throttle bodies tonight, whether it's for a C6, C7, or C8, including the new 91 millimeter throttle bodies for the Z06. If you guys want to get entered in, you're going to want to do it here ASAP because we are giving them away tonight. So get your entry in before the show is over, and we're getting to that point right now, guys. So every $10 is an entry. Every $50 or more is double entries. So get those in while you still can.
And the other thing, I'm sorry, Justin.
Looks like we need 31 more now to hit 200, and that would be really cool if we could do that.
Yeah, I was just going to mention for obviously those of you that have C6 and C7s, both obviously the throttle bodies and the throttle controllers equally contribute to a extremely noticeable change. It's not just a Z06 thing. As mentioned, I have a C8 Z51, and I use terms like night and day, and that's significant. And thankfully, other people in that video, as well as all the different reviews we get on our site, as well as the Corvette forum, use words like that, which are powerful, because rarely do you do a mod for, hundreds of dollars, or certainly both mods for less than $1,000, and be able to say things like, it literally changed the entire complexion of my car, drivability, acceleration. And I'll go as far as to say, some tell us, and I would be in that camp, it feels like I got a different engine in my C8 than the one that came OEM.
This is a good question. 2020 Matrix 8 says, is the older 91 millimeter throttle bodies, are they any different than the newer ones?
Yeah, so in this sense, they're different in as much as, this one is now our proprietary. And so we've been able to do things, as I mentioned earlier, that we weren't necessarily able to do with the others. There's nothing wrong with the others. We did find, as I think you covered in your video, for a while, we were getting some cells that were being thrown with the prior 91s. They were not at an enormous rate, but being a high quality, type of company, we were not comfortable with, even if it's 5%. That's an error rate that we just don't like to see. And that was the reason, honestly, why we pulled them. And we wanted to totally, start anew and re-engineer, and then keep testing with an actual Z06 back and forth, ensuring that we could get the most amount of air with no cells, with no, check engine, no issues. And it's been rock solid, to date.
Okay. Professor Corvette says that this should be called the Joler throttle controller.
I'm going to bring that back to management when we hang up. And if I'm able to do that, Professor Corvette, you are going to get a lot of kudos.
That's pretty funny.
I love that, actually. That's a good one.
Jay Brazelton says, where in Alabama is the warehouse? I'm not. Do you guys? Is the shop there like something that customers could actually come to?
Yeah, it is. And being from New Jersey, I'm going to sadly tell you that I haven't memorized it, but give me 30 seconds.
Sure. And
I will tell you the exact address is 25303 Profit, as in making profit, Drive in Daphne, Daphne, Alabama, zip code 36526. And if you want to, stop in and say hello to the team there, or give a call and just give a heads up, they're always welcome to see prospects and/or thrilled customers.
SSG Viper says he still would like an answer on the AWE switch path. What I'm going to tell you, Viper, I guess Shane's not still on here, or he didn't hear me maybe. If you want to shoot me an email, just email me at horsepowerobsessed@gmail.com. I will connect you and Shane together, because he's the only person I know off the top of my head that has the AWE exhaust system on his car without any other exhaust mods. So he can answer that question for you. I can answer it too, but of course I look a little bit more biased than some people because I work with AWE a lot. I will tell you without a doubt, yes, the AWE exhaust sounds better than OEM. A hair louder, a little bit more refined, less rasp. I will tell you it's worth it even if you don't do the cats. But if you want to hear it from somebody else as well, I can put you in touch with Shane, who has also done it. Oh,
Yeah.
He is still here. He says he commented, if you could, Shane, just copy and paste it. I didn't see that comment come in. And yeah, we'll answer that for you, Viper.
The one thing, Justin, that you pointed out in your video that I just want to share with the folks joining tonight, and don't get me wrong, I would never tell you if you want a louder exhaust that you don't need an exhaust. But one thing I would suggest is if you are thinking of adding the throttle body and or the controller, those are upgrades that you might want to consider doing first. And the reason I say that is you will definitely notice a change in note of your exhaust due to the extra air coming in. But some have also asked me, and I noticed it too in my C8, even though the throttle controller adds 0 horsepower and theoretically has no touching of the exhaust in any way, shape, or form, the fact that you're getting into gears, earlier on and getting into the sweet spot of when you're cruising and you accelerate and you hear that really nice sound, even in the C8 Z51, or frankly, anything that has the NPP in it, you will swear that it has changed a bit. And that's just a function of getting in those sweet spots and driving in them more frequently than you did in OEM. But with the throttle body, you absolutely are going to be gaining some different sounds. And that, just like when you put a CAI in, more air in, you are going to change the dynamics of the sound. So, if you're on the fence and you'd like a bit more sound, I would suggest going that route because you're not going backwards in any way, shape, or form. And if you do get an exhaust, all these two mods will do is amplify because you'll have better throughput coming out the back of the car on the exhaust side. So there's no downside. And if you're just looking for some, additional notes and some additional sound, you may feel you maybe don't need the exhaust. For those that want a much louder, don't get me wrong, you are not going to have a night and day there. I do think you'll have a night and day with the controller and the throttle body combined, or certainly the controller even on its own.
Okay. Lewis asks if there's any chance of a throttle controller for the C5 Corvette.
No, and the reason for that is the early gen C5s, GM actually used some older stock throttle bodies. So they were not the same electronic componentry as the C6, C7, and C8s. So we just didn't bother developing one because the whole electronics of the car itself, frankly, in the early months was different. But we do have a throttle body for the C5, C6, C7, and C8.
Jay, so this might help you a little bit. He's talking about maybe having Solar Performance come to a booth near Horsepower Obsessed sometime soon. So maybe me and Joe have talked about this already.
Yeah, that could be, Justin. That could be.
So we'll see.
Great suggestion, though. But obviously, you have a smart mind because Justin and I have been literally earlier in the week. That topic did come up.
Yep.
So thank you for that.
There was another question here. Oh, Chopper Larry says, why weaken the shaft on the 91 millimeters by only having the shaft halved, basically cut in half? Did it make that much difference in flow?
It did. And the back, there's plenty of support throughout. And so there should be no worries. It's not the first time we've used that type of technology. Right. We use it on some of the other throttle bodies as well. So there's no strength concern, or should be no strength concern. But we did notice a pickup by eliminating that.
Guys, we got over 200 people watching, 180 thumbs ups. Let's please hit those thumbs ups. Let's get to 200 before we end this. Gary Phelps says, is the HPO pit crew coming to the 2025 National Corvette Museum Bash? I'm going to say most likely. We'll know more in the coming weeks here, but stay tuned. We probably will be there. Silver Reaper says, see you both together at Carlisle next year? ? Stay tuned, Silver Reaper. You might just.
Stay tuned.
Kevin Horan, I got you in on the giveaway. Did we get anything additional? No. So, guys, we're still... Actually, what was that? What is this? we're still doing the giveaway here, guys. So we're going to be giving this away at the end of this show. So if you have any specific questions for Joe, now's the time to ask. You also want to go ahead and get these things, get your entries in so we can get the throttle bars given away at the end of this. So do you have any questions for Joe?
Hey, Justin, one thing I just want to share with everybody. So as all of you know, on a front engine, putting in a throttle body is pretty straightforward. And frankly, you watch one video, and if you're fairly handy with, a 10 millimeter socket, undoing the clip of the hose going into the throttle body and taking off the ECU with unclips, you're talking about a 15-minute to 20-minute install on C6, C7. If you're talking about the C8, it's not. I would put, and Justin, you can weigh in on this. It's not that it's like impossible or hard to do. It's just not as easy, obviously, because in some cases, you've got to take the trunk liner out. You've got to take the 21 T bolts out to the protective firewall, if you will. And then you've got to take the air box out, and then sitting there nice and pretty is, either 2 or 1, depending on which vehicle we're talking about. But there's literally 4 bolts to the throttle body, which obviously makes it so much easier on a C6 or C7. But that's all you're really dealing with. And then after you install it back, there's just a simple couple minute relearning code that we do, in terms of how to idle your car for a few minutes, shut it off, let it rest for a minute or two, and just go through that a couple times so that the relearn pattern of the ECM recognizes the additional airflow. But it's not intimidating at all. And even easier than that, frankly, is the throttle controller, which Justin did a really nice job of showing how easy that is to install and making it totally stealth. If you were, a Chevy mechanic and you put your head down there, you would not know that controller is in there. An important point as well, and I can tell you this from personal experience, having my oil change and my trans changed on my C8. When they put in their OB checker or sort of analyzer at the GM dealer, and they put it in my car, I wasn't really sure, although my engineers told me, don't worry about it. If you're that nervous, you can just take, the controller out. I chose not to. And the gentleman, did his diagnostics and then said to me, what time you're picking up your car. And that's when I knew that there's no, there's really no trace of that controller feeding through. And it makes sense because you are not changing the tune. You're not adjusting the ECM. There's no fuel trim changes. What you're really doing is just simply remapping the path and the expediency between the sensor in the gas pedal and telling the throttle body not only how fast to open, but how much to open. And therefore, that's part of that lag that's gone. And we also eliminate the ramping program that GM has put into this car. So again, you can floor your car all day long, and you are not wide open throttle. Repeat, you are not wide open throttle instantaneously. It is not a one-for-one relationship in a stock OEM car. You can get to that through the throttle controller, but that's an important distinction. When somebody says, just hit the gas pedal harder, no, that misses the entire point.
I actually got that comment just a little bit ago on my channel. I remember we were talking about it and I saw it. It is kind of interesting. Yeah, just hit the throttle harder. That's the idea of this whole thing. And it kind of hit me whenever I was doing it on mine, when I was cycling through the modes, is there is a, number one, there's a dead spot. We've talked about that. It eliminates the dead spot, but even outside of that, it's a better feeling whenever that throttle is more sensitive, because it feels like, and you've heard this 100 times, it feels like there's more power, because now you're not pressing that throttle 50% to get, 30% or whatever it actually equates to at the engine. Now you're pressing it 30% to get maybe 25%, however it is you have it set. It feels better. Nat actually asked, Justin, what is your favorite mode? As of right now, it's Sport 6. I feel like the more I play with it, the more I experience it, that will probably graduate to Sport 7, Sport 8, maybe even Sport 9. But the sensitivity increase from stock to Sport 6 is what I would call at this point perfection. It is what I feel like it should have come with. Now, someone said earlier that the throttle controller, the stock throttle, mapping is kind of set by GM attorneys. And that was actually a pretty funny way to put it, because you're probably not wrong. And that's the thing is, if you get into a car that sets the sensitivity on that throttle 1-to-1, which means if you press it 10%, it's giving 10% to the engine, you're going to get yourself in trouble. And especially if you've never driven a high horsepower car, you get in there and just stab the throttle, you're going to end up in a ditch. And that probably is something that GM wants to prevent from happening. But you guys all have the car. You guys have all experienced the car. You know what the car is capable of. Now it's time to fine tune it. And that's what this is all about, is making this car something you're going to drive, and it's making it kind of form to you, not just let's pump out 30,000 of these things a year and they all have the same exact throttle control or throttle mapping. You get to set it up in a way that is you. And I if you guys know my channel, I love the idea of customizing a car down to things like this, where it is literally, you get in that car and it's me. That's my car. Like, that's not a cookie cutter GM Z06. That is my car.
Yeah, that's well said. And the analogy I would use is, there's my mode. This is my throttle, right? This is my, throttle body and my throttle controller. And you've got 10 modes and 64 settings. And although we all know GM in the C7 and C8 did give us different modes, but they gave us one sport mode. So it's hit or miss. You either love that one sport mode or you still think it may be a bit lethargic. We give you 10 sport modes. Touring, we give you 10, on and on and on. So you get the idea.
Yep. DeAnthony, I did get your entry. I did for Sean as well. So, guys, we are going to start wrapping this thing up. So if you want to get in on this giveaway, I'm going to give you 4 more minutes. So we're going to run until 9 o'clock exactly. This is definitely running a little longer tonight, but I do want to give everybody the opportunity to get in on this, because this is a great giveaway. This is possibly one of the best, not necessarily the most expensive, but one of the best, because so many of you guys can use it. Between C6 and C8, that's covering obviously 2 full generations of the car. Technically, I guess that's 3 generations technically, but it's covering a lot of you guys out there. So if you want a ported throttle body, they can get to be expensive. The C8 Z06 one is probably the most expensive one, and you could win it here for a donation of $10. So consider that whenever you're going to possibly let an opportunity like this pass. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
10 Seconds Z06 says, with the throttle controller, you can lock the gas pedal from your phone so someone can't steal your car. It's a cool feature. It really is. And it's not necessarily that it's, that they can't steal your car. We've talked about this in the past, because I know this is going to come up. People are going to be like, well, they could still disconnect it, blah, blah, blah. And you're right. Everything in this world that is set up to prevent thieves from stealing your car it's really only there to slow them down. And this is no different. This is not going to 100% stop someone from stealing your car, but it is going to slow them down to the point where, they either don't get it, you catch them in the act, the police, somebody sees something. That's what we're looking for here, because Joe's going to tell you in a second to get down on your knees and uninstall that thing and plug it back in, especially on the C8, where the way we have it installed behind the carpet and everything, it's not 10 seconds worth of stuff. And it's not exactly something that someone's going to do. If it's a 40, 50-year-old guy, it's going to take a minute and it's going to hurt a little bit. Like, you're not going to want to do that.
Yeah. And you're going to have your back, to anyone behind you that you don't even know is sneaking up on you, like maybe an angry owner, perhaps. And to your point, Justin, and to your point, if they realize what's going on, because a lot of people say, well, when they hit the gas pedal, nothing happens, they're going to know it's your product. Okay, great. So now you got a car that went on startup mode. It's pretty loud. Okay, the gas pedal doesn't work. I open my car door, exposing the interior lights. I get out of the car. I get on my knees. I look for my 10mm socket. I turn on a flashlight because the interior lights do not light well enough to really see the gas pedal, trust me, at night. And so you get the idea. And then you'd have to find the thing behind the slit in the carpet, disconnect it. Oh, and by the way, find the other end that was the stock end, and then put your flashlight closely on that. You get the idea. I mean, is it possible? Sure, it's possible. Do I want to spend 11 or 12 minutes doing that? Oh, and by the way, if they do it while the car is running, they're going to throw it into limp mode, and now they're really screwed.
Yep, that's true. And that's another thing is, I mean, not that it would matter to them, but if it could pop up a check engine light if they don't do it right. Like, I don't know. There's, like I said, it's not going to absolutely stop somebody, but it is going to slow them down, which is, you know, obviously a step in the right direction here. I have something similar on my Ram TRX. If you guys are familiar with the TRXs or the Hellcats in general, for some reason, Dodge decided to design these things in a way that they're super easy to steal. I have something on my truck that will actually disable the gas pedal, and it disables it in a similar way. The only difference with that one is that if you remove the device, which is plugged into something completely different, it still stays disabled. Does that completely stop someone from stealing that truck? Absolutely not. Because even though that gas pedal is dead, you can hook it up to a tow truck. You can push it onto a tow truck. It doesn't matter. The option's still there. It's just going to slow them down and deter them a little bit. So what I would call this is a theft deterrent, not necessarily something that's going to totally stop someone from stealing your car. And honestly, you're not buying it for that. You're buying it for the beauty of the more sensitive throttle and eliminating some dead spots. Oh, and by the way, it also has a theft deterrent built in. So beautiful.
And one last thing on that, you can check with your own insurance company, because working with NCM, depending on what policy level you have with them, they are recognizing our product, the solar controller, and providing what's basically a discount under the passive alarm category. And the folks at NCM, if you have NCM insurance like I do, they're aware of it. So if you call them, they can bring up your policy and let you know based on what level of policy you have with them, whether you're eligible for that discount. And so I hope obviously you are. I don't know for a fact that it's unique to them. So if you have a different collector or even, insurance company, just ask that question, tell them they may or may not know the product, but tell them that it acts as a kill switch, and that is there a passive alarm type discount that they would honor if you can show proof of purchase.
That's a really interesting one, guys. So this is something Joe and I have obviously talked about behind the scenes, but the fact that, again, theft deterrent can literally save you some money on your car insurance. He obviously mentioned NCM insurance. They had talked about this a little bit, and it depends on your state, but it could be any insurance company. Reach out to them. If it's a theft deterrent, it is something that they're probably going to, at least if nothing else, they're going to be happy to hear you have. So,
yeah.
Oh, Gordon Cruz. Perfect. Gordon, you actually won the throttle controller last week. I've been trying to get a hold of you about that. If you want to get in on this giveaway, this is a different giveaway, but last week you won the throttle controller for the C7 or C8 Corvette. So please email me, horsepowerobsessed@gmail.com, so I can get the information from you over to Joe so he can send out your throttle controller. If you want to get entered on this giveaway, though, we're just about to wrap this thing up, so I'll give...
Hey, Justin, one more thing I just want to share with the audience, because like you have an awesome, obviously, Z06, but you also own a truck. And I know a lot of people that own muscle cars tend to also, have other vehicles such as trucks. So, the discount that we have working with Justin is for anything and everything in our store. So when you go to, www.solarengineering.com and you go to the right drop down that says store, you'll notice a whole bunch of different manufacturers besides GM. And so if you're the owner of other muscle cars or trucks, F-150s, Silverados, we make both products for all those types of trucks, as well as, Camaros, Challengers, Mustangs, et cetera, et cetera. So the discount applies across everything HPO5, not just the beauty of Corvettes that we're talking about this evening.
Very good point. I did mention that in one of my videos, but yeah, guys, regardless of what you're buying on the Solar Performance website, use HPO5. It'll take care of you. Give you 5% off whatever it is you're buying. Let me see. We need 3 more thumbs ups, guys. Nope, 2 more. We're at 198. Give me 2 more thumbs ups, and then we're gonna do this this drawing. 198. Professor Corvette, I'm assuming this is a no, but are throttle controllers available for EVs?
No, snaps back instantly.
So guys, we need 2 more thumbs ups. I think we can do that. 2 more thumbs ups. And in the meantime, Daryl gets in for an entry. Guys, this is it. We have more entries on this than I think I've ever had on any giveaway. That's again a huge, amazing to see that. That tells you all you need to know about these things. Yeah, this is by far the most. I don't even want to give you a number yet because okay, we hit 200, so we're gonna cut off the entries here, guys. So the amount of entries here, Joe,
Yes.
and everybody listening, we have 36 entries. I'm pretty sure the highest I've had up until this point was 18. So this is literally double the normal entries. So we're not going to run this thing too much longer here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and run the spinning wheel of fortune. We did hit 200. Thank you guys all. Here we go.
Done.
So who wins tonight? There's a lot of names on there, and I know you can't even see them, but once this thing determines a winner, it will pop it up on the screen. Here we go. Ooh, Jay, you might have been right. Oh, no, it went to AARPM. Oh, wow, that was tight. That was super tight. So, Aaron, AARPM, you won, buddy. Wow. Wow, was that tight. Did you guys see that?
Yeah,
It barely went past Jay. Holy cow, that was awesome. AARPM. You did. Yeah, AARPM had 1 entry. He spent $10.
And what kind of vehicle does he have?
Aaron, what kind of vehicle do you got? I know he used to have a C7. Actually, I think he's looking to get a C8 if I remember right. Yeah, Jay, you were right there, man. When you called that Jay won, I was like, wow, he's actually good. He's seen the future here. But it went just right over. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, congratulations, Aaron. Email me your shipping information, which throttle body you want, all that stuff, and I'll forward it over to Joe here. In the meantime, Gordon Cruz, if you're still in the house, email me because we owe you a throttle controller as well. Yep. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for tonight, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. I won't be on next week, but we will have a throttle controller available for those that, and again, that can be for a C6, 7, or 8. So, we have throttle controllers for all of those 3 generations as well.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you all. Thanks, Joe, for being on the channel here again. We'll see you guys same time, same place next Monday night next Monday night will be another throttle controller giveaway. And again, Solar Performance hooking us all up here. So we'll see you then.
Thanks, everybody.